everybody knows me, my name is Larry Kahn. I'm the president of the board of directors for Big Tree. I want to welcome you to our meeting tonight. You may have noticed that the room is kind of turned around today. We've always been back there. Carol Schaff is a homeowner and our videographer. She does an awesome job taking videos of all the meetings. Not all the homeowners are able to attend. Some may want to watch it twice, I don't know. But I think it's important that we have good video available on our website for all homeowners to take a look at what's going on at our board meetings. Carol suggested because it's here and the reflections from the prior videos that we get a better quality video by reversing the room. So we're doing that. So I'm sure it'll turn out great, and I thank Carol for that. Tonight's meeting, I'm going to try to keep our formal presentation shorter than usual to allow more time to answer questions, to give your suggestions, your ideas, your input, discussions on things we're going to go. I'll be talking in some detail about exactly where we are relative to budget, exactly what our maintenance and repair plans are for the next several months, and we'll go through that. Obviously, the historical details are already laid out in the mid-year newsletter, and if you haven't read it, it's available on the website, townhomesofbigtree.com. Also covered it in our prior board meetings, the videos of which, all except the May where we had technical problems and didn't turn out, but all the other videos of board meetings are available online for anybody that wants to watch it. So we want to try to finish up our formal discussions by 8 o'clock or a little bit too, and before 8 to allow time for your questions and input. Again, you're welcome. Any questions, any suggestions, any comments, any criticisms are more than welcome. The only thing we ask is that you do it in a respectful manner. So no bad language, no yelling, no personal attacks. We got kicked out of the Y, as you probably know before, and so I promised the executive director that Dean Shackelford that they're nice enough to let us use the room free of charge, that we'd be respectful. So in any event, next on the agenda is calling a quorum of board members, which we obviously don't have. A quorum is at least 2 out of 3 of the elected board meeting members, so technically it's not an official meeting, but that's not a problem since there aren't going to be any board votes taken tonight anyways, at least that I know. Yeah. Also reading the minutes of the prior meeting, which we typically do, and vote to approve them. Last meeting, again, I was the only one attending, the 3 board members, so it wasn't an official meeting, and so there are no official minutes of the meeting. There is a video, but no, technically we could not have official minutes of the meeting. Okay. Okay, just a real quick summary, a historical summary. This is completing our 9th month of the board. We're elected in December for 2016, so this is our 9th month in office. When we started and throughout the campaign, we developed a 5-year plan to make Big Tree great again, which we've been following. We made it clear that the first 2 years we were going to focus on a major priority was going to be building maintenance and repair. We had a huge amount of deferred maintenance at Big Tree. Obviously we still have some. We made it clear that it's absolutely impossible to do it all in 1 year. But we've accomplished a lot to date. And again, it's all documented, and we're moving forward, and I'll detail exactly what we're going to do in October, November, December of this year before we finish. So we'll be spending another $100,000 to $110,000 on the remainder of this year, specifically working on some major building issues. which I think is going to put us in awesome shape for next year. We have an election coming up, so whether I'll be on the board or not or whatever, I think it's a solid plan, and we'll have to see. But given what we've accomplished, we started with the worst buildings first, and we've already done major repair work on 26 of 40 of the buildings, and we'll be again doing several more, and I'll detail that a little bit. Obviously next year we'll be focusing on finishing up the major building maintenance and repair. We'll obviously have an ongoing maintenance program to make sure that ongoing work orders or problems with buildings are attended to, and buildings are painted and kept in good shape. But the focus is basically to make get the buildings in really great shape, as close to like new as we can on an exterior. For 2018 and beyond, our focus again will be focusing on making some major improvements in our infrastructure. We have an old infrastructure. There are issues and problems. Our lighting system, we have them all working now, but again, it's not the best system in the world. We've got sewer and street problems and pond problems and irrigation problems and whatever. But we've got 5 roofs to do next year. This year we'll pay for 7 roofs, which, as far as I know, as I heard, is the most roofs that have ever been done in a single year here. But next year there's 5 roofs scheduled to be replaced. And when we do the roof, I'll explain, we're really doing a lot more than the roof. But we've got 5 next year and only 1 in 2018. Then we have a 12.5-year gap in our 20-year schedule for roof replacements at Big Tree, which means from a financial standpoint, it's going to put us in a strong position because, I mean, it's a whole lot of money. The roofs are very, very expensive. You know, we do the roofs, and they're typically $14,000 to $16,000 for the roof, and we're doing gutters and throwing another $1,500 to $1,700, and inevitably there's a lot of wood rot that comes up. So before the gutters go on or anything else is done, all the wood rot in the building is going to be repaired. The last couple of roofs, we've had to rebuild chimneys, replace fascia, you know, lots of wood rot. I got bids from contractors in all the buildings that we'll be doing in the next couple of months, and we're all set to do it. At the last meeting, I said I was hoping to increase our cash flow from our available cash in the bank from 82.5, I think, to 100,000. And we're over that now. If you can see, we're at 104. I'm hoping to get us up to 111 or 112 before we start our work. This should be a reasonably good month. But we will be spending down some of our money after that, and our finance committee, Luis Lira, Bill Jasper, and myself are really anticipating, again, spending another $110,000 and ending up with an end-of-year balance of about $70,000. So we feel it's really irresponsible to spend your money and not have any cash. We've heard discussions of that before, and having to have a special assessment and all those kinds of issues. We think that's reasonable. Down the road, we'd like to build it up even more, but that's basically our plan for now. So I think the future is bright. The overwhelming number of comments that I've heard from homeowners is on how great the community looks in 9 months compared to what it did before. And several people say it looks the best they've ever seen since they've been here. But again, it's 9 months. I know it's not perfect. I know we still have work to do, and we are, but I think we've made some significant improvements. There are 2 closings this year, or this month, to bring us up to 15 closings for the year. That's very, very significantly higher prices than selling the last several years at Big Tree. Very few properties were sold, and they were typically foreclosures, and the prices were bad. A lot of contracts fell through because of the wood rot that was not repaired, and buyers couldn't get mortgages, and realtors didn't want to show homes. And right now, frankly, the last several sales, I've gotten emails and phone calls from both the realtors and the home buyers, and in a couple of cases the sellers, saying they really appreciated the good job we did getting everything in shape for the sale. And I'm optimistic the upside is really, really good. If we sustain our efforts and keep improving our community, I think we have an awful lot to offer, and it's going to be more and more desirable. And it's basically securing our investments, each of our investments in our home. And you know, that's obviously a good thing, and one of the major things that the goals, my definition of making the community great again, is making a great place to live, and having everything in really, really good shape and maintained well, having solid property values and a solid future. So, bottom line, that's what we'll be working for. What else? Let's see. This 30 days, we spent a lot of time on analyzing the work that we're going to be starting in October. We had a couple leak problems which we fixed. Building 38 had some leaks. We had to replace 2 chimneys, a portion of the roof. Mold and mildew on the coquina was terrible, so we also had that patched up and pressure washed and painted. And so the building looks a whole lot better. They're not on the schedule to have the roof done until next year, and the whole building will be finished up at that point. So we repaired a leak at 10450 Big Tree Circle East, repaired some street lights. We just finished removing 7 dead trees, and 5 of them were 70-foot, that big around pine trees behind Building 6, which I'm sure you've seen. I know at Big Tree we typically use bush earths a lot, and they frankly didn't even want to do it, wouldn't submit the bid. The work is dangerous. The trees were really close together. When trees are dead, they tend to crack off. According to OSHA rules, you're not even supposed to use cranes and stuff. I'm told. I'm not a tree expert. So I think the company that did it, it was a reasonable price for what they did, $3,900 for 7 trees, and they cleaned it up really nice. And even though a few of the homeowners weren't happy Busher wasn't here, there's nothing I could do about it. So, what else? Okay, the next is the treasurer's report. You flip to your last 2 pages. At the top of it, you can look at our bank accounts, our operating accounts, and money market and a petty cash, and see that our cash balance, the cash in the bank at the end of August was $104,123, and our total current assets $111,620. So that's good. It's a little more than I anticipated it would be, and again, I'm hoping to get it up a little bit more at the end of September, and then we'll be following through on our spending plan. The last page is the actual budget and actual expenses by category. One of the things we accomplished, which has been a huge help, is that our income is up very significantly. We had major problems with accounts receivable, with unpaid dues and foreclosure issues, and we've reduced that by 60–65% now. As a matter of fact, we just got a $3,000 payback, as you can see on here, on legal fees for people that were in arrears. So as a result of that, we got some people on a payment plan, and others have cut up totally, and a few have gone into foreclosures, and all but one of them has been purchased now. So that really helps our spending situation. For the month of August, which is the left-hand column labeled current period, you can see that our cash income and dues was $35,840 along with interest. Our general and administrative expenses were very low, $3,201 compared to a budget of $10,636, which means we were $7,400 over budget. Again, a major part of that was the legal fee. You can see the $3,300 we got back in legal fees, which was a real nice plus. We also have a contingency fee allowance built in the budget, which they'd had for a number of years, and it's a good thing to have. If you have extraordinary, unexpected expenses, you have some money to deal with it. So that money wasn't spent at all, so we did well on general administrative. As a matter of fact, if you move down to the right, you can see year to date we're $27,000 under the budget for general and administrative, and it's the same budget that was in effect last year for the categories. In the building and grounds maintenance, our actual expenses were, total expenses were $7,748 compared to a budget of $24,228, so we were $16,480 under budget in that category, which increased basically our cash by $24,667, which is a good thing. As expected, we're on a year-to-date basis. We are running a $68,000 negative balance or shortfall, which we anticipated from the very beginning, and that's basically all the money was spent in building maintenance. We spent $158,000 in building maintenance and repair, $2198 in WDO, although those categories are a little fuzzy, I'm not sure the accounts, and we spent $71,000 so far, $480 in roofing. So to date, between the maintenance, repair, WDO, and roofing, we spent $231,712. We got a lot done for it, as you can see from the photos and the information on the newsletter, or going around and looking at the buildings, and we'll be spending it, as I indicated, another $100,000 to $110,000 before the end of the year. So we'll be somewhere around $340,000 or so, which is a lot of money, but again, it's really, really important. Without that being done, our community is, we're going to be in bad shape. We're not getting leak problems like we had before, so I think, we've made a lot of progress in that area. What else? And again, our financial committee, we've reviewed all the finances as well as our spending plan, and Lewis and Bill Jasper are both extremely confident we're in better position than we actually anticipated, and we're very, very comfortable spending another $100,000 to $110,000 improving our buildings. And again, when we do it, we're going to be starting off on our plan with Building 9, which is scheduled for a roof replacement, which will start on the 10th of October, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And we'll be doing siding and wood rot repair for at least 3 or 4 days, maybe longer, followed up by painting the entire building. And all the boards are going to be painted and sealed before they even come to the work site. So that's been a problem in the past. We use cedar wood. Our buildings are made of cedar, which is a wonderful material. But if you don't paint the edges of cedar or the back of it, inevitably they're like a sponge. Water gets into it, and a year and a half, 2 years down the road, it's already starting to rot. If you keep it painted and sealed, it's going to last as long as I'm around and a lot longer. So, we want to do it right. So, and once we have that done, there'll be all new gutters and downspouts. So basically the exterior to the building is virtually, all the bad wood is gone. We got a new roof. The coquina is going to be patched, cleaned, sealed. The building is going to really, really look nice. We're then scheduled to start on October 24th to 26th with roof replacement for building 17. And again, we'll be doing the same thing. Siding and wood rot repair, which is going to start on the 27th, followed by the painting, the coquina work, and then finally the installation of the new gutters and downspouts. And then building 19, November 17th, again, the same procedure. And again, it's a different approach. Right from the beginning, we said if we continue doing things on a patchwork basis, you go put a roof on and go from there, or you patch up this leak, you patch this up, and we're really never going to get our community the way it should be. In order to get our buildings really in top-notch shape, we need to look at wherever we can doing the whole building. And again, we're following through on that. And that's not to say we don't do leaks. I mean, a leak comes up, we've been having them fixed within a day or two. So I know that's a serious problem, and we do deal with the emergencies, but at the same time, we can't repair the wood rot on everybody's fence or on their siding. Our building has a lot of wood rot on it. It won't be dealt with until the roof is replaced on the road. But again, we're doing it right. There's additional work if we come close to budget, as I expect and hope that we will. We want to finish the repair work on 2 units in Building 1, 10356 and 10350. The rest of the building has pretty much already been done with the Collins one, which they sold, and then we had a sale in there, which all the wood rot and everything was done. It was all freshly painted, and so we want to do that. We're hopeful to, in my notes, to do work on buildings 3 and 12, which have some significant wood rot. 3 has already had a roof, but from last year, the end of last year, which we paid for, it wasn't paid when we were on, but the wood rot was never fixed on it, and so that needs to be done. So again, we want to get as much done as we can this year, recognizing that we can't do it all. If your building hasn't been repaired like ours, and I hope whoever's on the board is going to follow the plan and make sure that it is done next year, so that at the end of next year, from the standpoint of our buildings, all the major work's going to be done, and they're going to be in really good shape, and then it's just a matter of the ongoing basis, doing the right thing. We will obviously continue to focus on the landscaping, making sure that our trees are trimmed. As a matter of fact, that's an area that I'm happy with, and getting some bids and ideas on how we can do a better job removing leaves and pine needles from the roofs and gutters of our units, as well as trimming the trees that start growing over the buildings. It's great to have trees around, but when they start growing over the buildings, it creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of moisture and problems on the building, and can start damaging the building, and you have problems with limbs breaking and that type of thing. So we're talking to some people that do that work and getting some numbers and looking at seeing if we can how we can implement that. Okay. So I guess we covered maintenance and repair. Our big tree insurance policies are up for renewal. We said we report on that. I was hopeful we'd have it done. We expected to have it done by now, but there's been some challenges in the process. We're paying about twice what we should be paying in insurance rates at Big Tree, $24,000 to be exact. And the reason for it is we had some homeowner lawsuits in 2013 and 2014. And even though the homeowners that filed the suits didn't collect a dime on it, it still counts against our record, and because of that, they kick us into a bad rating. We're trying to provide information and talk to different companies to see if they will modify that to give us a better rate than we've been quoted to date. We should get an answer. We got a broker getting a bunch of information and bids on it. We reviewed all the coverages and everything. We should know that in a couple of days, so I'll let you know. But it's very probable that it won't be until the end of next year when we take our $24,000 and get it down to 10, 11, or 12 the way it should be. Such is life. Bill Jasper has been working hard on that. I think y'all know who Bill is from the last election anyways. But Bill's got a professional background in the insurance business. So, he's been analyzing the policies and talking to a lot of insurance people and brokers and pulling together information. And if anybody can get it done, get it cheaper, I'm sure he can. But we'll see. But Bill's got a great financial background and business background and insurance background, and so we really appreciate his work in that area. I mentioned we have a board of directors election in December 10th, the second, according to our bylaws, the second Saturday in December, which right now is 79 days from today. Time flies when you're having fun. This is a bad situation we have now. I mean, we shouldn't have one person on the board of directors. Technically there are three, but for practical purposes, we've always had 5 to 7 people on the board at Big Tree. We really need it for a whole variety of reasons, and I'll talk a little bit about more about that. We typically send out 30 to 45 days before the election resumes and information on candidates that are going to be running for election, as well as specifics of the time, place, and whatever, and a proxy vote. We have a number of homeowners that will not be coming, and they live out of state or not be available, and they can vote by proxy, submit their proxies to the attorney. And then the actual annual meeting will be on the 10th. So, which basically means that I sure would like to see us have at least 5 people that want to pitch in and work together as a team. It's really not reasonable, realistic, or sustainable to have just 1 or 2 people trying to do all the things we have to do. There's a lot of things I would have liked to see done that didn't get done just because, there's just not enough time to do it all. But with 5 or 7 people, if everybody just puts in a couple hours a week, we could make an amazing difference. But again, we want to have people that will come in with the spirit of working together as a team for the good of Big Tree, not that I'm going to try to get what I want done or my building fixed or anything like that. But if, and I think that's really the key. If Big Tree doesn't become great again, like I certainly hope they will and plan in the next several years, it won't be because we don't have the money. Because if it's managed right, we've got more than enough money to do everything we have. It will be because the board didn't manage it right. And that's why it's really, really important for homeowners to participate and some homeowners to be active on the board and to work together for the good of the community. So again, I think there's a great future. We love it here, and we plan on, I'm retired now, and Pat's going to be retiring, and we hope to stay here. And one of my goals is to do whatever I can to make it sustainable, not to come in and work hard and make a lot of improvements and then see everything fall apart over the next couple of years. And I mean, basically, you got to have a good, solid board that operates on an open and transparent basis, getting the homeowners involved and working together to make it happen. So, and we had a couple people that have expressed an interest, and I would like to see a couple more. And if you would consider it, again, You don't need to be a financial expert or a lawyer or maintenance expert or anything else. If you have a sincere interest in making Big Tree great again, the better the welfare of the community, and are willing to participate, you know, there's a lot of things that we really need to do and we need to manage. I think we've made improvements, but there's still a lot that really needs to be done. So I'd like to hear from you, and encourage you to get involved. It can really be fun, you know, when you get a group that is really working together and doing positive things. And to a great extent, a lot of the hard stuff is done. I mean, next year we're going to be doing a little bit more hard stuff, but you know, it's getting easier. And we took the toughest part of it right up front. Thank God we had a little bit of money available in order to do that, but I think we managed it well, and we're moving forward on a positive basis. So, but again, we want to secure our property values and our homes. We want to have a great place to live in the future. Don't turn it over to someone else and walk away. You know? Stay attuned to whatever extent you can. Again, I'm speaking to people at home that might watch it on video as well. I'm very positive and optimistic about it, and I would like to see some seats here, people willing to jump in and work with us in a team. So beyond that, we can be here until 8:30, so I said we have at least a half hour, so we got 40 minutes or as much as you want or need. And again, I don't have all the answers, so I encourage you to make any suggestions, comments, ask any questions, discuss. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Chester.
Larry, the 2 insurance policies, don't we have at the association? Or maybe we have 3. Do we have, how many insurance policies? Because D&O insurance is the one thing you're talking about.
Bill Jasper has written some notes on it. The big problem we have is the D&O insurance.
Yeah, but we have other insurance, and I think that's for the other insurance.
I mean, we got insurance on the pavilion and the pool, you know, $150,000 for the pool.
Right.
And it's, you know,
and then we have
damage. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But,
yeah, and I think we have commercial insurance, like insuring the business of Big Tree. So there's three sets of insurance, I think.
I'll give you a summary of Bill's analysis. I mean, he's taking it piece by piece. And
yeah, can we put that on the website?
Well, everything's going to be done, and some of it changed in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so
it's going to be a little bit
but
late.
I mean, yeah.
We certainly will put it on the website.
Right, okay.
We're right now in negotiations with some companies trying to get that $24,000 rate down and adjust some of the coverages and make it more applicable to what we really have and we really need, bottom line.
Are we dealing through J.C. Perry?
Well, they've submitted a quote, but we've gone to
with other people,
some other options as well.
Okay.
They're not real flexible.
For
one, yeah.
No.
I mean, they're a good company and a good reputation, but
yeah.
they've given us what they got, and we would like to do better. But
Larry, I know there was vandalism in the pool. What was being done to prevent that, or?
Well, we obviously we spent some money and redid the video security system there. So we actually have 24/7 video, 4 cameras covering the pool, pavilion, the spa, and the pump house. We obviously have the same thing at the front gate. We have video cameras that get every car, every person coming in or out of the facility, as well as videos covering the boatyard. We had some signs, bought some signs, put signs up to, warning, you're on video. Other than, putting in a gate or hiring a security firm.
Lighting, we added lighting.
Oh yeah, well that's another thing, yeah. We added actually some motion floodlights in the back because they had some teenagers climbing over the fence and coming in the
And
pool.
the lights will come right on and say, yeah.
Yeah, and we have the same thing on the pavilion side as well. We have 2 motion lights, and while we have the lights around the pool and the lights in the pool working, so anybody come there and try to do something, it's gonna all light up, and plus they're gonna be on video, so that's what we've done. And I think it's a big improvement.
Do you have a copy of the building layout? We forgot what building we are.
Of the what?
What building number we would be? Do you have a copy of the buildings?
Um,
I know, we were just saying that, we forgot what
I've
building
got
we
one in
are.
the paper. Too many papers. I've got one around here somewhere. I'll find it.
Do you have access to websites?
I can get you one. I mean, I got one that's the one that was originally, when Lisa, when we did the original evaluation, got the contractors.
I'm not
bids on
registered on the
the-
website.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
that's,
color coded by
just gonna,
the condition of the building, identifying the work.
Larry, it seems to me that in July, to follow up on your question, is when we had those issues with vandalism, and you took a lot of steps to, which you just delineated, to try and combat that and reduce it. But I haven't heard of any incidences since all those new arrangements have been put in place. Is that right?
It's been quiet, yeah, we have had no problems. So far. Keep our fingers crossed, and again, that's the intent, obviously, it provides better protection for everybody. We had a trailer stolen from the boatyard as well, so somebody went in, broke chains off, and hooked somebody's trailer up.
So by all accounts, it's working.
Yeah, but again, that's all on video now too.
oh, yeah.
If they are, we're gonna have the license number and everything. Okay, well, Dion had her hand up.
Oh,
if I
yeah,
can-
I didn't see
Oh,
that.
it's
No,
okay.
no, no, no.
I just didn't understand the answer about exactly what is insured. What our insurance, we have 3 insurance policies. I don't know, that's what you were saying. What does our insurance
No, I've been busy
policy-
working on the maintenance and repair and trusting Bill, and he's been keeping, so I can't say that I'm an expert on that, but
To your understanding.
we have the
what-
directors and operators, operating insurance, we have a $2 million liability coverage, which is really important for all of us. Somebody comes in and falls down and or drowns in the pool, or hits their head, or breaks a leg, something like that. We're all covered from that. What did I say? We have the directors and officers. We got some building coverage for
What
the
building
pool,
coverage?
pool and pavilion.
Pool, pavilion, and we have building coverage?
Now, the buildings are only the homeowners have the homeowner policies on it. By the way, for all the roofs and everything we're doing, we're getting the wind mitigation thing for the homeowners, so you can get your insurance rates coming down. So you get a package with photographs and documentation on the quality of the roof put on, its ability to withstand certain wind speeds and everything, which the insurance companies are real happy with.
Yeah, I would want to ensure everybody, and I looked at the Kenny, that CAM or a group like CAM will have a current copy of all the wind mitigation reports, so that if people transfer their ownership, you know, it doesn't get lost in
They're
that.
filed with the city, and I'm having
It
a
is
copy
filed-
given to the homeowner.
Oh, okay, it is filed with the city then.
Yeah.
Okay, all of the wind mitigation reports are filed with the city, and there's a way of finding that record.
Some of the roofers haven't done it in the past, but it's one of the things I'm insisting on.
Yeah, I think
We do our roofs.
we need to follow up on that and get the,
Oh, I have, I mean, I get a hard copy
Your
of
point's
it.
well taken. In the past, where people had moved out, they took all their records with them,
Right.
and the insurance records.
yes.
Well, the CAM also now has a book and a copy in that book of the entire series of roofs that are done. So there are multiple copies that
Yeah,
are
okay.
available,
Yeah.
but there's going to be a central one with the CAM. in the event, you move out and take the day.
Yeah, that's the point of it, yeah, that's the thought I was trying to
Yeah.
express, yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for the past, but everything
Well,
we're doing now,
We gotta catch up, we gotta get that restored, you know.
go ahead and add a question.
In regards to maintenance, did you mention building 26 at all? I couldn't recall. Like in
Which?
regards to wood rot maintenance and what's getting fixed next year, and the year after that?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to have all of the buildings repaired by the end of 2017, next year, including my own.
Yeah. We're worried because we have a little bit of a security issue that's been going on since he doesn't have a gate. And we've had people who've been trying to get into his house. And they've been coming to our house in replacement, trying to look and get into his house.
Trying to what?
Get into the house because he has no front gate.
I have, the only thing that's holding up what used to hold the gate up is the doorbell, and now that's falling off. And I also
You
think
submitted a work order on that?
Both of
For
us,
months.
numerous times.
Pardon?
for months, and I have not received a formal response yet.
When did you submit a work order?
Started submitting it probably in May. That's when I started reporting that the fence was that bad. The actual.
I did replace one gate, and Kathy Como's son has a unit out there, and he had the same problem, the gate came down. I wasn't aware.
No, I haven't seen that.
Take a picture of
Because-
that.
Oh yeah,
Louis
my
has
gate's
been-
laying in my
it's
front
been-
yard.
He sent a picture of that to Kid.
Louis has gotten all the work orders from Cam, and he's got them all organized, and it's all being put on the website and everything else, but I'm totally unaware.
If I can ask, I mean, when you submitted the request for the repair or replacement of that gate, did it go directly to the camp?
I called Cam and I sent them numerous emails, and they said they would forward it to the board, whoever we need to go to.
Can we do something after the meeting so we don't tie that
That's
into
Oh,
law?
absolutely.
mine.
I will give you my email.
It's not on our list of work
Send it
orders.
to me, and I'll make sure that your work order is being processed through the system,
Cool. All right, thank you.
okay?
Sweet.
My whole fence is falling.
I'm aware of it. As I said, building one, we're hoping as soon as we get the 3 roofs done, again, I'm assuming I don't have any major, multi-$1,000 over budget kind of issue, we'll have your whole building as well as Mary Reed's done. That's the first one on the agenda. And then, as I mentioned, 3 and 12 are 2 others. That hopefully we'll be able to do something, but again, one of the things we can't, no matter how good a contractor is, I found out, they can only see what they can see, so they can identify visible wood rot, and they build that into their quote. Exactly what they're going to do. Same thing with the roofer. He can measure the square footage, he knows the amount of tiles he's going to put in, the work he's going to be done. But once he pulls off the roof, he has no idea whether there's going to be wood rot problems and stuff under it. And same thing with siding. And so in some cases, we've had jobs go $10,000 over bid prices. And again, they're more isolated, and I hope that's not going to be the case, but I have no way of knowing 100%.
Are we doing variance reports on all of that, so that when that happens, we have that documented and understand that?
Why would you do a variant?
Well, you set up that you're going to budget
You mean
to do
variance?
a certain amount of work, on things, and then you come up with that, based on the criteria.
The bottom line
that you're
is,
looking
what
at
happens
On engineering reports.
if the roofer rips off the roof, and he gets on the phone and he said, Larry, we found a whole bunch of wood rot. Same thing with center beam construction. When they take off fascia and siding and they say, oops, we got some problems that we didn't anticipate. Here's what it is and here's what it's going to cost. What do you want us to do? Come on out and look at it. So we're not going to patch it up and ignore it. So
No, I understand that,
Well, where's the
But
value, where's the value on the variance?
Just to understand what our true costs are, so we can project.
Well, we know that.
We can look at the cost, the initial cost, and the actuals. All
Yeah,
right, so what he's talking
That's fair enough,
about,
but
the unknown unknowns. When
if you look at the mid,
you don't know what's underneath there.
if you look at the mid-year report, these numbers are actual numbers spent per building on what was
Right,
done.
right, that's
They're
right.
actual numbers. the bid may be less than that in some cases, but that's what we had to spend
Yeah.
to do the job right.
And it's specific enough that it.
It's specific, yeah, it's the building, the work that was done, the amount of money that was done.
That's a good report there, that's a good.
Well, it shows what we budgeted, and it does have a variance number on there too.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right in the mid-year report, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I was wondering if there's issues with the lawn maintenance, who do we address that to? Do we address that to?
I don't know, Elizabeth Davis is technically the landscaping person. The bottom line is she's gotten married in the last several months. She bought a house separate here. So while she's technically comes here periodically and does work, I don't think from a realistic standpoint, you can call Liz, but, let me know. Send me an email or let Cam know.
Okay.
But, just one of the many things that needs to be supervised on a regular basis.
Because by building 26, the interior area with all the buildings over there, they hardly ever touch it. And even picking up the limbs, and when they blow into the patios, and
I understand that I mentioned the problem with the Windleys. I'm very unhappy with that. I've had a lot of complaints, and even our own building is like ridiculous. The leaves are up to the top of the gutters, and the rain that just overflows, and that's a real problem. And quite frankly, it makes sense to do it right on an ongoing basis. It's going to cost a little money, but it'll save us all money in the long run. Because if you let that stuff accumulate on the roofs, and you let tree branches start growing over, all it does is cause mold and mildew and wood rot. It shortens the life of your roof, and so it needs to be done. And you can't blow it on someone's sidewalk and walk away either. That's not right.
yeah, but they don't even touch it. They don't touch the area at all. So.
But I frankly haven't had time to run around every Tuesday and spend all day with.
No, but I'm saying, what is it you want me to do to voice my?
Well, you can tell me the specifics. I'm happy to talk to the owner and do what I
Okay.
can. Obviously, that's one, board member that should have, and, we should have somebody that's taking a look at, that knows something about landscaping, that likes to deal in it, that's willing to talk to homeowners and look at the issues and tell the maintenance people what to do. Not that they're going to have to do it, but, checking to make sure everything is done right, at a reasonable standard. If you let it go, you know what happens.
Yeah, no, I
They
understand.
hire,
I think most contractors though don't like having everybody tell them what to do, right?
yeah, but I can make it real
Correct, we're
specific.
paying for that.
That's why you have,
You don't let those contractors go with it.
That's right.
No.
You gotta, I gotta have an adult conversation with somebody.
they get paid, they have to do it our way, or we can find somebody else. I mean,
Okay.
bottom line is
We
reasonable.
have to have our
But
expectations.
ideally, we have one person on the board in the future that we communicate with and say, here are the issues, and talk about it, and agree a plan to generally get things done, and have one person that deals with the landscaping company and follows up.
Now, like with me, I have a place where I can put a bunch of my fallen tree limbs and stuff, and expect that to get picked up by the
It's not your job.
Huh?
It's not your job.
Well,
Being facetious, Jesse. It's not your
basically, let's try
job.
to.
Right answer, if you do that, it's not your job.
It's not rocket science, you just have to pay attention to it.
Larry, if I can say, we have a deficiency, we do. And that deficiency is we really don't have a scheduled maintenance program in place here at Victory. We're playing whack-a-mole here. Everything is unscheduled, trying to get it done through work orders. But a lot of that is not due because there's no effort being put forward towards it. We just didn't have enough arms and legs. If you remember Clint Eastwood talking to the chair, we're talking to the chair. All right?
Well,
So, but
Wait a
it
minute.
is a deficiency and it's something that.
We're also dealing with the budget issue, as I said, our
Well,
major
sure.
priority is just getting the major building repair done. Obviously, we're still gonna do those things, but we don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, well,
for them.
but we can't say it kind of due to budget
It's a
constraints.
year and a half.
Where can I put my gate in the meantime? Because the city's like refusing to take it. 'Cause
I
it's
mean,
too
I can
big.
get the gate fixed, it's not that expensive if you just.
Well, I mean, I've got a rotten
Submit a
one.
work order and whatever, I'll have someone look at it.
But what do I do with the actual?
But
gate?
obviously, everybody deserves to have a gate that closes, I mean, out here
I'm
in my house.
I'm wondering what I gotta do, like my gate is in my yard right now, I'm wondering where I can put
Let
it.
me make a
because the city
suggestion
won't
for
take
you.
it.
If you feel the gate needs to be removed immediately, if you don't have the means to do it yourself, we will find a way to do it for you and we will move it to the boat yard.
Oh, I can put it there, I just wanted to know where to put it.
Add it to Cedar Mountain, Cedar Mountain won't mind.
Yeah.
In the
Walk into the boat yard and look to the left and that's Cedar Mountain. If you feel you need to get it off your property, just put it there and that will be dealt with as we get time and finances.
I know, but we can put my truck in all of those.
A lot of people do gates and fences.
Pardon?
A lot of contractors do gates and fences, I
Oh, yeah, I know, I could take care of it, that's not a problem, go ahead.
think. Yeah.
As far as the waste control for the dogs, those 3 containers, I understand there was supposed to be some signs made for people to only, that's for dog waste, not for dead animals, and all that kind of stuff, because there's, we take them to the curb ourselves, which is fine, I have no problem doing that. But when people go and they throw trash in there and it weighs 100 pounds, it's very difficult for me to pull that out to the curb and then they won't take it. So is there any, I understand there was some signs that were supposed to be made up so that that's not used for everyday
Like kitten
trash?
litter?
Huh?
Like kitten litter?
Kitten
That is heavy stuff, I'll tell
kitten
you.
litter, and there was just regular trash in there,
I know
and
it's been a problem at the boatyard, and it's also a problem at the pool pavilion. We've been cleaning it ourselves, frankly, and it used to be filled with beer cans and liquor bottles every week, it was ridiculous.
so I mean,
Plus other
can we get
things
some
going on.
signs that it's just for certain things, don't put your garbage in here, or what?
Well, we're open to that. That issue was raised before, and I said we're happy to do that. I don't know of any ready-made signs that you can buy for that. We
No,
can
but I
find
mean,
one.
can't we have them made?
Probably, probably
something.
can.
Are made?
One of my board members.
This is a book that has to be in there.
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. I think it's reasonable. I know it's a problem. It was overflowing and the garbage, people didn't take it. Pat and I actually took some of the stuff and moved it to a place where they wouldn't take it. Yeah, those are problems.
Are you our only board member?
Well, technically, there are 3 people on the board. Obviously, they're not all here.
They weren't here last time either, so does that mean you're our only board member, or what's going, I have no idea what's going on. Are you the only person doing work? Is it just all on your
Well,
shoulders?
Liz has been doing some, but life changes. Somebody gets married and buys a house, and
Yeah.
moves. I mean, life changes, and that's why we should have a board of 5 or 7 people.
Doesn't Lisa feel inspired to do anything anymore?
Well, that's
I mean-
another issue.
Huh? That's
What
an
is the
with it.
issue?
Pardon?
What is
It's
the
another
issue?
issue.
Well, the issue is when someone's on the board, they gotta be a team player, and they gotta do things that they decide to do that are the opposite of what everyone else has agreed to do. And that's not acceptable, period.
Like, you had to pull a budget straight maybe, and that got her.
Well, yeah, we had budget problems,
Yeah,
and money was
because she
spent.
overdid what
That
she
wasn't
wanted to do.
planned.
Well, go back a little bit, all right, because back in December, one of the charters that was put in place, you had 3 board members.
Yeah.
And then you had people like yourself who volunteered for subcommittee work.
Yeah.
The subcommittee members, myself, Bill Jasper, you, our charter was to look at areas that needed to be reviewed make recommendations to the
Yeah, so
board.
that things would be
And then the
balanced.
board, right, and then the board members would take action. And we've continued to do that as subcommittee
Right.
members. You know, you and I on the documents committee,
Right.
myself with Bill Jasper on the budget and finance committee.
Right.
And then just keep making recommendations to the board to put in controls where you needed to put in controls.
Right.
So that's the path we've been on.
But
Yeah.
how can you have a board how can you have a board vote on something when there's only one person?
Well, that's
Well, that's
exactly
why I
right.
said it's
And you're right.
this is not an official meeting.
Right.
We don't have a quorum.
But that's why Larry brought up earlier that you have to have an expanded board. You have a board of 3 people.
It wasn't my
Two
choice, I have only
become
3 people. We had 5 candidates to run last time, and they changed the rules right
There's a
before
lot
the
of,
election.
in my thinking, there's a lot of planning and thinking that has to go on, and a lot of give and take that has to get hashed out to come up with the final thing of what you want to do. And just to have like a board meeting or have that kind of situation, I think that maybe we should have our ideas expressed on a forum, perhaps, of what we think. Like you all ought to be able to express your ideas of what you think you might want to have.
But recognize that all of our recommendations are being presented and have been presented at every meeting.
The only problem with that is the forums in the past, frankly, were gossip columns, and they were very nasty and negative.
Yeah, there's
And I don't want to go there,
Yeah.
period.
Well, we have to have
As I said,
disciplined communication, that's for sure.
Well, I'm all in favor of communication, and I welcome people call, they email, I have no problem. They're willing to express an opinion on anything, you know.
To have a constructive basis for
Yeah.
what they're saying,
I don't claim to have all the answers, but, I got some, and I get advice and help from other people as well, but we don't have a real board, and we need one. What can I tell you?
Did those board members that are here, did they resign?
No?
No call, no show.
Still have it. Still have it.
I mean, that would be a better course, because then we could replace them.
What are the rules?
Right now, technically, I can't replace them,
That is-
and I can't change the number of board members until December 10th. That's what the bylaws, the governing documents call for.
I've lived in Big Tree a long time. There has always been at least 5 board members, sometimes 7. I do not understand how we got down to 3.
You need to ask the prior
Leo and
president.
Dion were the only ones running against my our group.
Well, let's not go into that. I think
Well,
we ought to-
I'm just answering
that's-
the question.
I don't,
So with 2 board members, they couldn't control the board if there were 5. So they figured if there were 3 and both of them got elected, then they could vote whatever they wanted.
Well, that's a nuance that could be changed one way or another.
Yeah,
And that was
that needs
changed
to
to
be
3,
changed.
and if it needs to go back to 5 or 7.
yeah, so that
not
one person can't say we only have 3 board members when there's always been 5, at least 5.
Right, exactly, and that has to be
Yeah.
re-established, presented to the homeowners,
Yeah.
put on a process, and whatever the homeowners decide.
My thinking is that it would be good to have a 5-member board with each member fully committed to pooling their thoughts and not trying to, and not being competitive with each other.
But do we change
Well,
any?
you not gonna change personalities.
Yeah, I know.
But all you need is, as the lady said on the end, if it was 5 and that's when you want to go back to, then you vote on it. But you're not gonna come up
I don't know that there's a magic number. I think that if there were 7 or 9 people that were really excited about working for Big Tree and wanted to participate, I'd be delighted to have a bigger board. And it makes things a lot easier with the Florida law, because you're not supposed to have a meeting that constitutes more than a quorum. And if you only have 5, where does that leave you? Only 2 people can meet at a given time. Otherwise, technically, you're violating Florida law. With 7 or 9, obviously, you have a whole lot more flexibility in the way you do
Okay,
things.
I got you, because can't technically have a board meeting with 3 people.
Pardon?
When you've got 7 or 9, you can have 3 people meet, you don't have to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And another issue, I mean, we had, one thing, we had a lot of, started with a lot of committees, which were really a great idea. But you really have to have a committed board member on each committee, otherwise they tend to fall apart. Unless somebody's willing to organize it, set the dates, plan it, follow up, it doesn't happen. So, well, yeah, we do have a couple committees that are functioning, but again, I can't be in meetings every night of the week. And nobody should be expected to, but again, if you got 5 or 7 people, it becomes very, very doable to do it right.
I had to replace my water line in my house, for my house,
Inside or out?
outside. And of course, the meter is on the exact opposite side of.
Okay, I'm aware.
Okay, yeah, I talked to you about it. I found out, and I'm not looking at it from my point of view because hopefully I won't have to do it again, but some of the other homeowners in this situation, they offer to where they can run, rather than digging through all the tree limbs. It cost me almost $2,000, okay, and
To do what?
to replace my water line,
From your meter?
from the meter to my house.
$2,000?
Almost $2,000, and that was $1,500 cheaper than David Gray. All
But
right?
I was told, because part of that, I talked to several homeowners, a couple of which were on the board, that said they spent several $1,000s doing their own homes. So it's not an uncommon problem, and the governing documents do make it the responsibility of the
Okay, but I'm
homeowner.
asking if I found out and it would have been like half the price, rather than putting the water line through the ground, they can put the water line up on the building and it looks like an eave spout and you can hardly even tell what it is. And, I'm thinking for other homeowners, that would be a much cheaper way to go, rather than digging through all the trees and all that. How do you put something like that into the homeowners association that they could go ahead and do that rather than spending all that money digging through the ground?
Well, that sounds like a resolution to change the governing style.
Is that-
sounds like-
Yeah, not for myself.
That's
I mean,
that's a good
what you call is an
Yeah.
archaeological.
because rather than, and the roots are gonna grow again and the water line's gonna end up leaking again, and I asked, how come all the water lines are on one side of the house? Building, why can't they be, and they said because it's, easier for them to go and read all the meters and all that kind of stuff. But,
Not anymore, they do it by satellite. Well,
What? yeah, but I'm saying, that's something to consider for future
Well,
homeowners.
changing the governing documents is a pretty big undertaking, frankly.
She calls 2,000.
I'm hoping that it'll, I wanted to get it done this year, but
Is there a way that we can do it without causing a lot of expense for the homeowner association? I'm just saying, it's something I'm throwing out to help save people some money if they have to do that too.
there's 2 sides of it, I guess, and I know
Two
I
sides.
haven't raised that issue before talking about it, but a big concern about the integrity of the buildings and everything. And instead of start putting pipes on the side of your building, it kind of changes things fairly significantly. May adversely impact property values. I'm not saying I know the answer that can be looked at, but there are concerns with it. I would be very careful before I, say, oh, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, he said it could go up against whatever that called, cochina.
Well, I mean, he's looking at it from the standpoint of a plumber. But if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the community and the property values and the integrity of our buildings, it's a whole different ballgame,
And with the water.
Let people put orange shutters on the building.
Oh, no, it never gets cold enough
Just kidding.
for the water to freeze. it's covered. It looks like it's covered like a gutter. You couldn't even, he showed me the material and everything that would go up there. It would match the cochina or the
Okay,
wood.
we're gonna have to wrap up, but you know, if you can get the proposal, submit it, and we'll look at it and see where we can go with it. I don't know the answer.
Like an architectural review committee?
Well, I wanna make sure we're not violating the covenants, because then we have, legal and financial liabilities. So, you know, if we're doing something contrary to what the governing documents call for, it raises a red flag, and we could get someone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, that's why I think the
So I
fire
would be-
documents is an important thing, but if that's ironed out, and we've got a firm basis. for
Okay,
thinking about it.
something to be looked at. Dion first.
Just one quick question that I think clarity, I know that he said he had a work order in from May, and here we are 4 or 5 months later, and that hasn't been answered, and you don't know anything about it, and Luis doesn't know anything about it.
Luis has asked Cam for getting all the work orders, and he put them all together, so it's,
No.
what happened to it, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never
find
seen
out
it.
where that's through.
I don't need, I'm just,
No,
well,
I don't know what happened to it.
I'm just thinking that that's a long time, and for
So-
not you to know about it and Luis to know about it, so are you going to contact Cam, or is, I mean, there's an issue there, obviously, if,
Well, I think
He's
maybe
been without a front
maybe
gate for that
In the
long.
future, that won't be a problem.
No,
Huh? So it's done.
Okay, is there anything else, the last word before we wrap up, Jerry?
What about these old Christmas lights that people leave out year round instead of?
What again?
Christmas lights, Christmas lights that they hang out, just hanging there. I never see them on.
I don't say that things are going.
I have never heard anybody complain.
No, we don't leave that corner. I'll be asking, well, you can get it now.
I'm aware of the problem, but.
Bye-bye now. Larry, did you call an end to the meeting?
Okay, meeting adjourned, thank you very much.